Welcome to Team Guides. We simulated over 200,000 possible game orders to predict each team's path to victory. We'll be looking at their best games, the ones they want skipped, key players to look out for, and the chance at making it to Dodgeball. Now let's get to the teams. The Red Rabbits. Sapnap is here to lead the Red Rabbits, coming off of back-to-back wins in the festive events and his recent dominant performances in Season 2, especially in PvP. Joining him are two teammates back for revenge, as the last time Eric and CBK teamed with Sapnap they fell in Dodgeball. And finally there's Nikki, who got one of her best placements in MCC 19 when teamed with CBK, showing how she is constantly improving. Everyone on this team knows each other pretty well, with only two duos not having teamed before, so you can bet that the vibes will be immaculate. This is one of the best PvP teams in the event, performing above average in every PvP game, so you definitely want to keep an eye out for this team as they are some of the highest scoring games. Despite their prowess in PvP, the best game for this team is actually Parkour Tag. Sapnap is a nimble runner who can constantly out-survive the opposing team, giving the hunter enough time to snatch the bonus. But speaking of hunting, that's nothing to laugh at either. On average, Sapnap can catch every runner in a blazing quick 36 seconds, which is why it's surprising that he's not even the best on his team. Eric is the second best Parkour Tag player according to averages, thanks to an absolutely incredible performance by him and his team in MCC 13, going 8 out of 9 for the bonus. But he also did well the other time he played in MCC 14, getting 300 coins, making this their strongest game. Nikki and CBK also do pretty well, so Red should definitely aim to get this one played late in order to sneak their way into Dodgeball. Unfortunately, apart from Parkour Tag, Red suffers a bit in movement. 3 of their worst games are movement, and so this should really be prioritised first or preferably skipped entirely. One player on this team who is a key part to the Red Rabbit's success is CBK. While he may fly a bit under the radar thanks to some strong teammates, he's come onto his own in Season 2, getting 8th place in MCC 15 and 5th place in MCC 16. CBK is extremely well rounded, with all of his game averages being 100 coins of each other, with the exception of grid runners. And he could be crucial to get a good score if some of the team's weaker games get played late, especially Ace Race, which he excels at and is his strongest game, especially the Space Race map. Looking at the distribution for the Red Rabbits, this team gets into Dodgeball over a quarter of the time and is most likely to come third. They are also one of only 5 teams who can get first according to our simulation. This is definitely helped by their best games being some of the highest scoring, and so if they manage to get a few of them late, then the Red Rabbits are definitely in serious contention for Dodgeball. The Orange OCElots. This team is led by Puns, who has consistently scored fantastically since the start of Season 2 and has firmly established himself as an S tier. Joining him is Captain Puffy, who he has teamed with 3 times prior to the event. Puffy ended Season 2 strong with a Dodgeball appearance with the MCC 18 Lime Leashes, and is hoping to repeat that performance. However, exciting as Puffy and Puns are, the real buzz for this team is surrounding the 2 newcomers, Purpled and Aleda. Both of these newcomers have been highly requested, with Purpled even having the top spot in our players we want to see in MCC video. It's always a challenge to judge newcomers, but for Elena we decided to use Kara Corvus' scores as an approximation. Purpled was a little more tricky, but we decided to use SB's averages thanks to their strong movement and communication skills, but we slightly increased Purple's Sky Battle average and decreased his Ace Race average to more accurately match the player. The biggest game this team wants to have a large multiplier on is survival games, and it isn't hard to see why. Despite subpar performances recently, Puns is the king of survival games thanks to some insane early Season 2 scores, remaining in the top 3 for average S3 scores. The rest of the team is expected to also do well, with it being one of Puffy's better games and a game that newcomers should have some experience in. The other game Orange does really well in is Parkour Tag. Purple recently did a practice stream doing some Parkour Tag and absolutely killed it, meaning he may be the player to watch in this game. Puffy is also fantastic at Parkour Tag, her second best game in the entire event. It has been a while since Parkour Tag has been chosen in a canon event, but this team has a very good chance of winning if this is played. The most important element for Orange if they want to win is communication. Aside from Parkour Tag and SG, this team also has high averages in Buildma and Sons of Time. This means all 4 of Orange's hypothetical best games heavily rely on teamwork and communication. This puts Orange in an odd situation, as the games they are statistically favoured in are the games that their best player Puns has traditionally not done well in. While it's worth noting that these numbers may not be indicative of the actual event, at least on paper this team is going to need to work together. With that in mind, the player to watch on this team is going to be Captain Puffy. Puffy started out Season 2 in a bit of a slump, but ended it strong, particularly in team games, where she played more of a supporting role. However, with two newer players and Punch generally not doing well in communication based games, Puffy may have to take the leadership role. The statistics for Orange show that there is a wide range of placements that are possible. This team seems to generally place between 2nd and 6th, with a 12.8 chance of placing in Dodgeball. There is no single game this team is heavily banking on, but instead should generally try to play what they feel good about. It's very hard to predict how well a team with two new players will do, but this is definitely a team you want to keep an eye on. With a bit of luck and practice, this team is a Dodgeball contender. Also, if you're enjoying this video so far, make sure to subscribe as we produce a lot of content similar to this. False and Ren returned to their original team of the Yellow Yaks, joined by two players who have performed exceptionally in Season 2, Illumina and SB737. The last time SB was in a Canon MCC, he teamed with False and took the coin home, allowing him to participate in the All-Stars event where he teamed up with Illumina. This squad is very reminiscent of the MCC 15 purple, with SB swapped in for Martin. So it's safe to say that this team will have a great chemistry and be a very fun one to watch. Don't be fooled, despite their fun antics, this team has a very good shot at winning the event too. SB will play a crucial role for the team, as he's not a regular player, having played just 5 times in a Canon MCC since his debut in MCC 8. However, so far he has cemented himself as a very capable player, coming off of a 7th place performance after getting 14th 2 times in a row. SB is also strong at games that the rest of the Yellow Yaks aren't as strong at. He's the only one who performs above his average in hole in the wall and parkour tag, as well as being key to why one of Yellow's best games is Ace Race. He's an extremely strong movement player, which is extremely beneficial to this team. This team has an assortment of skills, not surely doing better in one category of game than the other. For example, while they're weaker in movement in general, they're the 3rd best team in Ace Race and they all do around their average in to get to the other side. They excel at build mart and sense of time, but are the worst team for grid runners. Yellow has 2 movement games, 2 team games and 1 PvP game in its top 5. So this is definitely a team you have to look out for, no matter what is currently being played due to their variety of good games. But if there's one factor that links everything together, it's that the Yellow Yaks will have amazing synergy, meaning that in games where communication is arguably the most important aspect, they're already amazing at build mart and sense of time, being 1st and 2nd in the event respectively. But we could even see them do above average in some of their weaker games such as Grid Runners and Sky Battle. According to our simulation, Yellow can definitely get into Dodgeball as there's over 200 game orders where it happens. It's important to note that their best games are all commonly played quite late, and so the distribution here is deceivingly low, as in reality they're definitely going to get at least 1 or 2 of them with a big multiplayer. The teams to need to watch out for are Aqua and San, who share their high averages in build mart and sense of time. San also beats them in Ace Race, and so it would also be smart to try and get hole in the wall early, as San can get a huge lead over that. But if they play it smart, the Yellow Yaks are in a shot of winning. The Lime Llamas. The trio of Tapple, Tubbo and Bulbasaur returns from MCC 15 Pink Parrots, this time joined by seasoned MCCer Shubble. Even though you wouldn't usually consider her part of the same community as the other 3, she's been on 2 teams with each of Tapple and Wilbur in the past, meaning their team chemistry will be top notch. With Shubble and Wilbur coming 7th, Tapple coming 6th and Tubbo tragically missing out on Dodgeball in 4th last MCC, this team will be in it to win it this time around. And with strong leadership from Tapple in games like Sky Battle and overall good showings from the entire team, they can certainly achieve that goal and make it to Dodgeball, giving them a chance to become the MCC 20 champs. One of this team's biggest strengths is their well-roundedness. They're not particularly good or bad at any specific game, with less than a 200 coin difference between their best game, Sky Battle, and their worst game, Parkour Tag, compared to the average of 415. What this means is that in the grand scheme of things, game order doesn't matter that much to this team. So rather than being forced to play the games that they're good at, they can focus on playing games that the top teams won't be good at, helping them climb up the ranks towards the illustrious 1st place. Since no other team is really close to being as consistent as them, they all have weaknesses. For example, Green really struggles at Sky Battle, while Blue isn't too good at Ace Race, while Lime, as expected, can still do decently at both. That being said, it's still good to have some general guidelines on what to do, so let's quickly go through their worst game and best game. Sky Battle is an obvious 1st place for them, as Tapple, Wilbur and Tubbo all shine in the game. This is especially true, after remembering that the last time these 3 teamed together, they won 2 out of 3 rounds. On the flip side, this is actually Shubble's weakest game, but under the leadership of the aforementioned trio, it should still be enough to push them to victory. Now let's take a look at their worst game, Parkour Tag. Again, showing how well balanced this team is, the game is only 81 coins below average, yet still their worst. While Tapple does significantly above average and Shubble barely above, the main reason this game is the worst is because Tubbo and Wilbur struggle. It's Tubbo's worst game and Wilbur's 2nd worst. However, their team chemistry along with Tapple's insane movement skill should allow this team to do decently well in parkour tag. And if that doesn't work out, well, parkour tag has a trend of being skipped recently. Taking a look at how Lime stack up in the distributions, we see that because of their well-roundedness and thus lack of extremely good games, in no game order does Lime come first. However, they do make dodgeball around 8% of the time, still an attainable possibility. Looking at their best game orders, we see movement and PvP games like Sky Battle and To Get to the Other Side played late, with their not so good team games out early. For our final team of part 1, we have the Green Geckos. This team has an unusual composition, with no clear leader or standout player. Instead, every player on this team are around the same average, although Rambo is probably the standout due to his stellar performance of 4th in MCC 19. Phil is also coming off of an amazing event, getting 6th on the winning team, and while Scott didn't have an incredible MCC 19, he got his 4th win in the 18th event with 7th place. And Sparkles also got 11th in that MCC, of course with his teammate coming in 3rd. The Green Geckos clearly have many highs, and could absolutely dominate this event, and the stats support that. But this is also a team that will just have a lot of fun and amazing chemistry. Every single person has teamed with every other person, and so they know each other's playstyles and know their team's strengths and weaknesses. Green excels at movement. They're the best ace race team in the event by far, as well as the best hole in the wall team, beating Cern by over 100 average coins. If Green can get movement games late, they have an extremely high chance of making it to dodgeball. Hole in the wall has everybody but Scott doing above their personal average, with it being Phil and Rambo's best game. Meanwhile, Ace Race has everyone doing above their personal average and the game's total average, with all of them having around averages in 300s. This team could very well perform like MCC 18 Cern, Rambo and Sparkle's previous team together. Cern 18 managed to place 8th, 9th, 13th and 14th in Ace Race, one of the strongest Ace Race team finishes of all time. This team was one of only 2 teams to have every member finish in the top 15, and the Green Geckos seem poised to repeat that. Although Green does have some clear bad games, there's only 2 of them. The rest of the games they all perform quite a bit above average. These 2 games are Sky Battle, which is one of the captain's least favourites, and of course survival games, that the game Rambo is cursed in. These are rather unfortunate games to not perform well in, considering they are 2 of the highest scoring games in the event, and SG has a tendency to be played very late. In order for Green to have their best shot at winning dodgeball, they need to try and get these games voted out quick, and luckily for them, Sky Battle is usually played early, although it was played in the second half for just the first time in the last event. Our simulation says that Green gets in the dodgeball almost 95% of the time and places first in 90% of game orders. This makes them the heavy statistical favourites for the event, although their averages are probably a tad inflated from fantastic season 1 finishes from Captain Sparkles and Phil. Regardless, this team has a lot of potential, and as long as they play Sky Battle and survival games in the first half and try to aim for movement games later, then there's an extremely high likelihood that this team will make it to dodgeball.